Well people, I've just been watching this video that Nigel Farage done not that long ago. It seems the reason the government have not put Article 50 in is because we're all going to get stabbed in the back. Over half the country voted to get out of the European Union, the EU. But they're doing everything possible to keep us in the European Union, in the single market, which means free movement of people. So we're going to get more immigrants and refugees and all that coming to the UK. Prices are going to go up and up and up and up and up and up. Theresa May's cutting benefits, DLA and all the benefits for the vulnerable disabled people down to £1 a week to live on. So we're all getting priced out of our homes, we're all going to end up on the streets. They're going to keep us in the single market, which means more refugees are going to come over here, so we're going to end up on the streets. The indigenous people of this country are going to end up on the streets, and the refugees and everybody else are going to end up in our houses, and end up in our council homes, and end up in our private let homes, while we end up on the streets without a penny in our pocket. That is what's going on. Theresa May is keeping us in the EU via the back door. All the rubbish you hear on BBC News, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, it's all a load of bollocks. People need to understand. All these news channels I just mentioned, 1, 3, 4, 5 and Sky, they're all controlled by the government. They're all told what they can and can't report. They're all told what to say and what not to say. If you want to sit there and watch a pack of lies, watch the mainstream news channels. The only one that's not controlled by the British government is RT. Or alternative news media on the internet. BBC and all the rest of it, and ITV and all, it's a lot of old rubbish. The stuff you read in the newspaper, they're told to write it by the government. One thing they don't tell you is that the police and the armed forces in this country are getting ready for mass civil unrest. Because they know, once the British people realise they're keeping us in the EU, in the single market, and cutting our benefits down for those of us that are just too ill to work, there's going to be a mass civil unrest, and they know it. Right, I'm going to try and get this video up here to show you what I'm on about. I'm going to move the camera to see if we can get a better look at this video.
And it would also mean, if we stay in the single market, some degree of free movement of people. So if you think about it, as far as I'm concerned, every single thing that we voted to get out of in this referendum, we're now being told, not just by Lord Mandelson, not just by people like Tony Blair, but Tory MPs like Nadeem Sahawi telling us we must stay part of this single market. And I'm just beginning to wonder and to worry, are we on the edge, perhaps, of a great betrayal? Because whichever side you voted in that referendum, 17.4 million people voted for us to leave the EU. It was the biggest exercise in democracy ever in the history of this country. 8 former communist countries joined the European Union. I warned them then they were joining a club that would resemble, as the years went by, the club.
There you go. Even Nigel Farage So it reckons, well, he's getting very worried that we're heading for a big betrayal. They've got no intentions of letting it, the British government's got no intention of getting us out of the European Union, out of the single market. When Theresa May says Brexit means Brexit, she's lying. All she ever says is Brexit means Brexit. She doesn't tell us what it means. Because she knows Brexit don't mean Brexit. She's basically saying, you all voted to get out of the EU, over half the country voted to leave the European Union, but guess what? We're not. We're going to stab you in the back. They're lying to us, people. It's about time the British people got a bit of backbone and stood up and said, right, we voted out, we won out. Simple as. Or we're all going to sit there and get stabbed in the back time after time after time by our politicians. Lying to us. Even the police is being militarised over the years. Look at their uniforms. Look at what there was, from what there was to what they are now. They're like friggin' soldiers. Black from tip to toe. Well, they're special ops in the armed forces, SAS, because that's what they're dressing like. It's ridiculous. About time the British people stood up and said, right, we're not having this no more. But what do? Sit there and cower like a load of scared little children. It's about time the British people started getting like the rest of the Americans and all the rest of it and make a stink without violence. Don't use violence because that'll go and get you nowhere. That makes you as bad as them. You know what I mean? Refuse to go to work. Bring the country to a standstill, peacefully. Till we get what we voted for. Instead of keep being stabbed in the back. Fucking ridiculous. I've never met a country full of so many cowards in my life. Getting walked over like doormats and just sitting there going, oh, okay, yes ma'am, yes, no ma'am. Even though you're stabbing us in the back, we do what you say. But you fucked if I will.